part is true, but as you are a student of Dr. King, I'm not only a student of Dr. King, I know his daughter, Bernice.
We do not care.
Right? So I'm going to get to my question.
Go ahead, go right ahead.
A society that has done something special against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for Negroes. He also said in 1968, it was about less than a week before he was assassinated. Your argument for color blindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted. And so many in the Black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
He's not a Republican.
So how do you...
He's never voted for a Republican.
Yeah, we are back with some more current events. We all know The View has been getting a lot of smoke lately, huh? We got your boy Coleman Hughes on his definition of colorblindness when it comes to race, all right? We already know these group of women, they walk with two left feet, no disrespect to them, but I can't believe Whoopi Goldberg, me watching her growing up on all these movies, you know, turning out to be this way. Oh, it's confusing. I don't know how she turned out to be this way, but maybe it was just smoke and mirrors, huh? With that being said, listen, if you like reactions like this, consider hitting the like button, definitely subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell. Let me stop wasting your time. Let's go ahead and press play. Let's go, baby.
First question that I should ask you to do is explain to folks what you mean by this. Arguments for a colorblind America. What do you mean when you say that?
So a lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race or to pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased, so we should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy.
Of course.
And the reason I wrote this book, thank you. The reason I wrote this book is because in the past 10 years, it has become very popular to, in the name of anti-racism, teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything, right? And I think that is the wrong way to fight racism, and that's why I wrote this book at this time.
I'm sorry, baby. Yeah. Can I just point out that there is a reason for that? You know, when I went to school, getting any information about anyone's race was not taught. No history, there was no Black history. None of those things were taught. And here in America, 100 years ago when I was a young woman, that's how people saw you. That's how they judged you. So I think, I don't want to say it's your youth, but I think you have a point, but I think you have to also take into consideration what people have lived through in order to understand why there has been such a pointing of very specific racial things, like women.
I gotta stop it right there. Whoopi, I seriously need you to go back to the drawing board. What are you talking about right now? What are you really talking about? Go in the comments, let me know if you think Whoopi's bugging out right now. I don't know where she's getting at with this. Then to top it off, what I'm getting from her is like she want to keep reminding people how to feel. People who will never experience what she experienced, she want them to experience what she experienced. I don't like that. I don't like that rhetoric right there. I really don't. I dislike it a lot.
Couldn't get into colleges. If you were a Black person, there were a lot of colleges wouldn't accept you. Trying to equal the playing field. I think that's what a lot of folks have been trying to do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think that's your experience, and that's valid. You know, as a counterpoint, when I was in 5th grade, we all watched Roots together in public school.
Yeah.
So these are different experiences. I think it's also different generations. It's different parts of the country, right? We have very different cultures all living together in one country. So I'm not going to deny that, but I view this notion of a colorblind society similar to the idea of a peaceful society, which is to say it's an ideal, it's a North Star. And the point is not that we're ever going to get there, we're not going to touch it, but we have to know when we're going forward and when we're going backwards. And we're going backwards when we're doing woke kindergarten in San Francisco. You know, you didn't hear about this story?
No, but
wait, because I want to get
they don't want to hear about it.
You believe that public policies that address socioeconomic differences would be better at benefiting disadvantaged groups, and that race-based policies often hurt the very people they're trying to help.
Yes, they do.
What are some examples of policies that would be better at reducing racial disparities?
So my overall argument is that class, socioeconomics, is a better proxy for disadvantage. We all want to help the disadvantaged, and the question is, how do we identify them, right? The default right now in a lot of areas of policy is to use Black and Hispanic identity as a proxy for disadvantage. And my argument is that you actually get a better picture of who needs help by looking at socioeconomics and income. That picks out people in a more accurate way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because a disadvantage is I don't have any money. Not look at my skin color, that's why I have a disadvantage. No. Macroeconomics, y'all. Make sure y'all put y'all kids onto that, right? They got books for children on macroeconomics. Look it up.
And not my question, but when you say that socioeconomics picks out people in a better way than race, when you do look at the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and Black households. You see the huge disparity between white households and Hispanic households. So your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give it a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed, in my opinion.
Well, there's two separate questions. One is whether each racial group is socioeconomically the same. That I agree with you. They're not.
Yeah, they're not, and the stats show that.
But of course, I agree with that fully. The question is, how do you address that in the way that actually targets poverty the best?
Great.
And what Martin Luther King wrote in his book, Why We Can't Wait, is he called it, we need a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target Blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor. But it will be doing so in a way that also helps the white poor, in a way that addresses poverty as the thing to do.
That's the overall.
Is true, but as you are a student of Dr. King, I'm not.
You see, you're a typical feminist, but they love the, it's true, but they always have to rebuttal. You understand?
Not only a student of Dr. King, I know his daughter, Bernice, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to get to my question.
Go ahead, go right ahead.
I think the premise is fundamentally flawed. You claim that color blindness was the goal of the civil rights movement, based upon Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, content of character versus the color of skin. Bernice, Dr. King's daughter, points out that 4 years after giving that speech, actually, Dr. King also said this: a society that has done something special against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for Negroes. He also said in 1968, it was about less than a week before he was assassinated, this country never stops to realize that they owe a people kept in slavery for 244 years. So rather than class, he did write about that earlier on. Right before his death, he made the argument for racial equality and racial reparations. And
another thing, too, that I'm noticing, she had to write notes, which means that she's oblivious to all of this. She has no clue. Someone had to tell her what to say. What he's going to say is all right here, because he's been doing this. This is what he does. What they do is just for entertainment. They just try and get views. That's why it's called The View.
Right before his death, he made the argument for racial equality and racial reparations. And so your argument for color blindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted.
A house full of women, cuz. House full of sensitive old females dealing with their damn hormones. Y'all some unstable creatures. See, I ain't gonna say the B word. I'm gonna say unstable creatures.
What?
And so many in the Black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
He's not a Republican.
So how do you...
He's never voted for a Republican.
You've said that you're a conservative.
No.
No, you did. You actually said that in the podcast that you did 2 weeks ago.
I said I was a conservative.
Yes, you did. So, but my question to you,
Yo,
is,
pack up and get out of here.
How do you respond to those critics?
Okay, let him answer.
First thing I think it's very important. The quote that you just pointed out about doing something special for the Negro. That's from the book Why We Can't Wait that I just mentioned.
Yes.
A couple paragraphs later, he lays out exactly what that something special was, and it was the Bill of Rights for the Disadvantaged, a broad class-based
But he also says you must include race.
No, he didn't. He says it's
Yes, he does.
She ain't read the whole thing.
Everyone should go read the book Why We Can't Wait. Let's not get sidetracked by that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been co-opted by anyone. I've only voted twice, both for Democrats. Although I'm an independent, I would vote for a Republican, probably a non-Trump Republican if they were compelling. I don't think there's any evidence I've been co-opted by anyone, and I think that's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here. And I think it's better, and it would be better for everyone if we stuck to the topics rather than make it about me.
She got
no
smoked.
evidence that I've been co-opted.
I want to give you the opportunity to respond to the
I appreciate
the criticism.
I appreciate it. There's no evidence that I've been co-opted by anyone. I have an independent podcast. I work for CNN as an analyst. I write for the Free Press. I'm independent in all of these endeavors, and no one is paying me to say what I'm saying. I'm saying it because I feel it.
Yeah. Alyssa, you have the question.
Hey.
Coleman, thanks for being here. So in the past decade, it feels like racial tensions have gotten worse. Do you see it that way, and what do you attribute it to?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at all the data, it finds that race relations were getting better until about 2013. That year, you had a majority of Black, Hispanic, and white Americans saying race relations were good, and then you just see it nosedive. And 2013, people like to blame, Republicans like to blame Obama. Wasn't his fault. Democrats like to blame Trump. It was actually just technology. We all got social media and smartphones, and we had videos being promoted in the algorithm that were unrepresentative, and it created this impression that racism was on the rise when in fact it had been on the decline for decades.
And it's allowed attribute that at all to foreign actors getting involved in technology?
Yes, Russia tries to meddle, absolutely, but I don't think we can blame foreign actors. This is a homegrown problem.
Okay, I have a question, because you write that the anti-racism movement, there are a couple of people, I don't even know who they are, maybe you know
Robin DiAngelo.
Is he being interviewed or interrogated? I don't know the difference right now. I feel like I'm being interrogated. This is different.
Robin DiAngelo, Ibram Kendi, for instance.
Okay. Well, you say that is just another form of racism, and you even say it has a lot in common with white supremacy. How can you compare those two things? You talk about anti-racism, you're comparing it to white supremacy.
Because they both view your race as an extremely significant part of who you are. So white supremacists, they obviously say, we all know what they say, okay? Neo-racists like Rob DiAngelo, they say that to be white is to be ignorant, for example. Well, this is a racial stereotype, and I want to call a spade and say this is not the style of anti-racism we have to be teaching our kids. We should be teaching them that your race is not a significant feature of who you are. Who you are is your character, your value, and your skin color doesn't say anything about that.
That's actually misrepresenting what Robin DiAngelo's position is.
It's in her book.
But a lot
So here we go.
They don't read. I can tell they don't read.
Thank you, Coleman Hughes, for coming, because this is a show of lots of different opinions, and we are multi-generational, and we all got an opinion.
Seems like I got the same opinion. You notice how every time he was talking, they didn't hit the applause sign for the ladies to applaud, right? But for some odd reason, when it was their turn to shine, you heard all the ladies clapping. Come on, this is biased already as it is, so y'all can miss me with that right there. Shorty got cooked, she got smoked. They put her in a pack. Matter of fact, we gonna name her the new next pack coming out, all right? The new exotic pack. Yo, she is an embarrassment. And if she's married, woo, I feel sorry for her husband, for real, because that attitude right there, she got too much cockiness to her. You understand? She needs to learn how to just fall back, humble, learn how to listen. And you should read more books as well. You know, judging based on how you talking, we can tell you don't read a lot, all right? So with that being said, hey, if you stuck to this part of the video, consider hitting the like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel and also hit the notification bell. See you in the next one.